Hello and a very warm welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to Global TV AM News, live in Nigeria's capital, Abuja. I am Judith Peters. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has given the Federal Executive Council, FEC, a directive to revive the economy and make life more bearable for the people. This was disclosed during the inaugural council meeting where he rolled out the roadmap for the economy going forward and urged the new Federal Executive Council to involve developmental target along the 8 priority areas of his renewed hope administration. Uyi Agbomofuegbe has the details.
The council also examined the president's 8-point agenda, including national security, economy, agriculture, power, oil and gas, transportation, education, healthcare, the digital economy, women empowerment, and judicial reform, among others.
The policy agenda will be set to reform economy to deliver sustainable and inclusive growth, strengthen national security for peace and prosperity. Without security, there can be no investment. We must unlock the energy and natural resources of this country. We must start to produce for ourselves, dig ourselves out of the hole.
Briefing State House correspondents after the meeting, the ministers who were led by the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, and Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Ajuri Ngalale, unanimously assured that they are inspired by the president's disposition and
8 priority areas for moving the Nigerian economy forward and for delivering to Nigerians. And those are basically food security, ending poverty, economic growth, and job creation.
We're all fired up as cabinet members who have made our commitments to Mr. President. And I'm sure he's equally pleased with the kind of commitments that we have laid out today. And God willing, we should be able to achieve those targets within the shortest possible time.
In Mr. President's manifesto during his campaign, he promised 50 million jobs, and that's our target. And you know, we will take it in phases. We're looking at different sectors of the economy that will contribute to this job creation. Chief among them is the creative industry and the digital economy, and then the agri sector and agro-processing zone, and mining, oil and gas. So we are very, very confident that we will achieve this.
The bias is towards action, so that we get things done. I think it's very clear that the President wants us to domesticate our efforts within our own national context, but also to be very practical in the interventions that we make. And with those marching orders, we now have our work cut out for us, and will continue to refine as the Coordinating Minister of the Economy indicated.
At the meeting were the Vice President, Kashim Shettima, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, Head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Folashade Yemi Eso, National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila, among others. Recall that after confirmation of the appointments of the 45 ministers by the Senate, they were sworn in by the President on the 21st of August 2023. Since the swearing in, the ministers have familiarized themselves with their ministries prior to this week's FEC meeting. For Global Television News, Uyi Agbomofuegbe reporting.
Thank you very much, Uyi, for that report. And also, a statement by the presidency on Monday says, as part of a broader effort to reduce the cost of governance in Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has directed the Federal Ministry of Foreign Affairs to freeze the processing of visas for all government officials seeking to travel to New York for the United Nations General Assembly without proof of direct participation in UNGA's officials scheduled for activities. The statement says to prevent any sharp practice. In this regard, the U.S. mission in Nigeria is accordingly guided in officials' visa processing, while Nigeria's permanent mission in New York is further directed to prevent and stop the accreditation of any government official who is not placed on the protocol list forwarded by the approving authority, noting that by this directive of the President, all federal ministries, departments and agencies are mandated to ensure that all officials who are approved for inclusion in the UNGA's delegation strictly limits the number of aides and associated staff partaking in the event. Also, the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu says Nigeria will not sustain failed economic theory that sees to the wastage of 90% of its revenue in the servicing of external debt in the midst of many development challenges facing the country. The President made this known while declaring open the annual conference of the Nigeria Bar Association at the Velodrome Chief MKO Abiola Stadium, Abuja. Our correspondent Uyi Agwemifuebe tells us more.
Gathering of 16,190 lawyers in attendance with an extemporaneous speech, President Tinubu stated that the prosperity Nigerians require will only occur once poverty is banished from society with the focused cooperation of Nigeria's private sector leaders, many of whom were present at the opening ceremony.
Changes and bold endeavors will be embarked on by this nation, depending on the cooperation and the collaboration of all of you in the private sector, the drivers of the economic growth and prosperity. Yes, it is a shame not to have electricity for the majority of homes in Nigeria. Yes, poverty is not a shameful thing, but not acceptable. We must banish it.
Speaking on the theme of the conference, Getting It Right, Charting the Course for Nigeria's Nation Building, the President stated that hard decisions must be made to set the country on a growth trajectory, despite the initial pains which meaningful reforms usually bring.
If the topic of tonight or this week must be what Nigeria hopes for, if we must achieve greatness as a nation, what do we do except take bold decisions? It could be painful at the beginning. In the medium term and long run, it's not about you, it's not about me, it's about the generation yet unborn.
In his welcome address, NBA President Yakubu Mekiao, SAN, expressed the confidence of the NBA in the ability of President Tinubu to deliver good governance to Nigeria because of his pedigree and past track record of excellent performance in Lagos State, where he was the governor between 1999 and 2007.
We have decided to go on with this conversation around the thematic areas of security, economy, and administration of justice, because these are matters that are of great concern to the people of this country. It is our intention that at the end of this meeting, we would have set an agenda on behalf of the people of this country.
The conference was attended by the Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi, SAN, Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila, Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, past NBA presidents, and many senior government officials, among others.
AM News on Global Television, and now President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has said the country can now continue to service its debt with 90% of its revenue, noting that the country was headed for destruction in the event that it sustains that trajectory. Tinubu, who spoke during the annual conference of the Nigeria Bar Association on Sunday in Abuja, said his administration must take difficult changes to better the lot of the country. The president, who says there is hope for a great Nigeria, called for the cooperation and support of the private sector, speaking on the epileptic power supply in the country. The president described the situation as shameful. He, however, promised that his administration would ensure that Nigeria generates and distributes the electricity the economy requires to thrive. Vice President Kashim Shettima yesterday declared that Nigeria was in a difficult economic situation, charging members of the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms to develop a robust roadmap that would transform the economy and take the country out of its current state. The Vice President gave the advice when he received in audience members of the committee led by the Chairman Taiwo Oyedele at the State House Abuja, reminding the committee of the enormity of the tax it is saddled with. The Vice President expressed belief that it possesses the requisite competence to deliver on its mandate, urging members to come up with a robust roadmap that will reposition the nation's economy. The Vice President noted that fiscal policy and tax reforms were important tool for resource mobilization. He charged the committee to make recommendations that would be quick deliverables in view of the current economic realities. Also, a total of 370 farmers across the country are billed to benefit from the intervention of Renewed Hope Initiative, a brainchild of Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu in the agriculture sector. Sandra Akpa reports that the intervention includes distribution of seedlings, pesticides, and fertilizers to between 15 and 20 farmers in each state, making up a total of 370.
This is one of the key resolutions at the meeting of zonal coordinators of the initiative with the national president and convener of the Renewed Hope Initiative, Oluremi Tinubu. Other interventions in the sector include a proposal to encourage the establishment of farm markets in strategic locations and home gardens among Nigerians, towards facilitating easy access to fresh farm produce.
We can start with 10 farmers so that they will equip them with seedlings, fertilizers, and some basic tools. And one of the programs we are looking at programs that we see how they take their produce from farm to market. And one of the things we want to encourage you and to tell your colleagues is to have what they call farmers market. Farmers market is very, very good. You can identify a location that all these your farmers that you can take from farm to this local market, so that they come in, they will sell their market straight.
Another key intervention area for the initiative is a partnership with United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, UNICEF, to streamline and sanitize the process of birth registration. The partnership will explore and promote immunization towards stamping out polio. The First Lady, however, called on the zonal coordinators to be at the vanguard of the process in their respective domains, urging them to be part of the immunization process.
We have UNICEF. UNICEF wants to develop a roadmap to accelerate birth registration. I am quite excited about it.
Zonal coordinators of the Renewed Hope Initiative were drawn from among state governors' wives in the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. Sandra Akpa for Global TV News.
Thank you very much, Sandra Akpa, for that report. And now, 46 Nigerian students in tertiary institutions across the country have emerged the first set of beneficiaries as the Renewed Hope Initiative Nigeria First Lady Oluremi Tinubu flags of the National Scholarship Program for Tertiary Education. The beneficiaries were drawn from the 36 states of the Federation and the FCT, while others were nominated by various women's societies, including National Council for Women's Societies and Defense Staff and Police Officers' Wives Association, DPOA. Judith Peters completes the report. At the ceremony held in the banquet hall of the presidential villa, the First Lady and National President of the Renewed Hope Initiative, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, congratulates the beneficiaries, noting that the gesture is part of effort by the initiative to ensure that no willing student is left behind. She says the National Scholarship Program envisioned a Nigeria where every child, regardless of their circumstances, can access the best education available, adding that it is about igniting curiosity, speaking innovation, and fostering a love of learning that will transcend generations.
What we are witnessing today is being done to support and complement President Tinubu's administration's drive at making tertiary education accessible, especially with the introduction of the student loan scheme. As a society, it is our moral responsibility to bridge the gap and provide every child with the opportunity to reach their highest potential, regardless of their background. The Renewed Hope Initiative RHI Scholarships Program is a commitment and a promise that we make today to identify with the youth of Nigeria, to say to them that their dreams and aspirations matter.
She further urged the beneficiaries to take their studies seriously as their GPA will be taken into consideration in subsequent years. The First Lady also encouraged them to take on vocational skills.
Most of the recipients of the scholarship scheme I've had in the past, I encourage them to learn a trade. Okay? Learn a trade. Even I'll give you an example. One of my girls who is a medical doctor from Borno State, when I first met her, I asked her, Fatima, what can you do? She said, I can plait hair. She does that in the campus. That is extra money for her.
The Renewed Hope Initiative Director of Education, Professor Hafsat Ganduje, in her remark, identifies intervention in education as one of the 5 pillars of the initiative.
The mission statement of the initiative is towards a better life for families, with its scope covering 5 major areas, which comprises of agriculture, education, health, economic empowerment, and social investments. Today's event, which marks the maiden National Scholarship Award by the Renewed Hope Initiative to newly admitted students of Nigerian federal and state universities and other tertiary institutions, falls under the scope of education.
The inaugural National Scholarship Program of the Renewed Hope Initiative is a 4-year scholarship program of 1 million naira per year and a laptop for each beneficiary. The ceremony was attended by Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Betta Edu, and Minister of State for the FCT, Mari Mahmoud. Still in the news, the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, has demanded a shorter transition from the junta in Niger. The chairman of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, told the ulemas during a meeting on Thursday that a 3-year transition proposed by the military leaders was unacceptable to the regional body. The ulemas had held a meeting with the Niger junta in a bid to avert military intervention to restore democracy in the Francophone country as planned by the ECOWAS. During their interface, the junta leader General Abdurrahmani Tiani had indicated an interest in holding a dialogue to resolve the political impasse resulting from the ulcer of President Mohamed Bazoum in the July 26 coup. They also asked the ulemas to prevail on Tinubu to restore electricity, which was cut off from Niger as part of sanctions imposed by ECOWAS. The release of huge volumes of water from the Ladder Dam in Cameroon has made state along the path of River Benue in Nigeria brace up for possible flood disaster in their various domains. To prevent that and other disasters associated with flood, states and that are likely to be affected have asked residents of the flood-prone areas to vacate switch communities. According to the National Emergency Management Agency officials, not fewer than 11 states, including Adamawa, Taraba, Benue, Nasarawa, Kogi, Anambra, Edo, Delta, Bayelsa, Rivers and Cross River are likely to feel the negative impact of the opening of the dam. The state on Sunday advised Such residents to leave the areas to avoid impact on human lives and valuable assets. It was gathered on Sunday that Cameroon informed the federal government that it would soon open its Langdo Dam. The director of the African Affairs Federal Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Umar Salisu, said in a letter dated August 21st, 2023, that the ministry received a note from the High Commission of Cameroon as regard the opening of the dam. You are watching Global TV AM News, coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're here on Star Times Channel 276. Kindly follow us across our social media platform using our Global TV NG and other handles now showing on your TV screen. We'll be back with more details for you after the short break. Please stay with us. Welcome back, and if you're just joining us, this is Global Television bringing you live broadcast of the AM News from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. The Nigeria Customs Service, NCS, in Monday said it has arrested Nigeria importer Boniface Ike for offering $54,330, an equivalent of 50 million bribe, to officers of the Tin Can Island Command of Service over the seizure of 240-feet containers landed with illicit and dangerous drugs imported into the country from India. Speaking at a press briefing in Lagos, the Custom Area Controller, Tin Can Island Port, Controller Adekunle Oyede, stated that the unregistered pharmaceutical products which were intercepted at the Lagos port were worth 550 million naira. According to him, the products didn't have the required permit and certificate for importation, resulting in the confiscation of the illicit drug that had been disguised as electrical appliances by the importer. Also now on sport, Bayern Munich have identified Leicester midfielder Wilfred Ndidi for a potential loan deal as they explore the possibility of strengthening their midfield before the end of the summer transfer window. Bayern interest in Ndidi did not go unnoticed by coach Thomas Tuchel, who intends to have the midfielders in his squad as soon as possible. Meanwhile, Leicester City are keen to negotiate a contract renewed with Ndidi, whose contract expires at the end of this season. One of the options under discussion would be to extend the Nigeria midfielder's contract with the former EPL champions, followed by a loan at Bayern. Ndidi, who is in his 8th season, while Leicester City is considered a valuable asset in the midfield, and a possible move from Bayern could represent a stepping stone in his career. And that's it on Global TV AM News, coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're on Star Times Channel 276. Kindly follow us across our social media platform using our Global TV NG and other handles now showing on your TV screen. On behalf of the production team, I am Judith Peters. Thank you so very much for watching. I'll see you again. Good morning.